time too, but not as nearly as much people they've released these past 2 years. But the brand split, like I said, changed. It really changed a lot. You know, like obviously you had the Raw roster and SmackDown roster. SmackDown was really good. I felt like Raw was watchable around that time from 2016 up to, I guess you could say, 2018. Because I mean, after 2017, I mean, it kind of just went down. Like it just kind of went downhill from there.
I think it was like around 2015 or something. It started to go downhill for me with the authority figure and all of that going on. With the Daniel Bryan stuff.
It was like they basically took a storyline, because this was more of a Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Vince McMahon storyline, but in a more PG way and a different gimmick, because obviously Daniel Bryan's completely different from Stone Cold, and those guys come from two different eras of WWE, but they just basically took the whole Stone Cold versus the Authority thing, basically flipped it right on Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, and the thing is, it didn't even work. Like, they wanted to say, oh, we have this success with Daniel Bryan and all this stuff, but the thing is, it did not work. More people was against the whole damn thing than for it.
Right. And I mean, and the way they had it set up, like he would have an opportunity and then it would get like taken away from him right then and there. And then like I think what really like just really made everybody just like say, yeah, this is probably one of the worst storylines you could put Daniel Bryan is when he had to relinquish the belts, and this was on two occasions. One occasion he had to relinquish the world titles. Then the second time he had to relinquish the Intercontinental Championship due to injury, and when he relinquished the Intercontinental Championship, he had to retire, which is that really just like changed definitely for me how I felt about all that, because it just shows they really didn't care for his health, because he put himself through a lot. I mean, especially the stuff that they were having him do with Kane.
Yep.
That really fucked up his body a lot.
For me, that when Daniel Bryan gave up the 2 titles at the WrestleMania, that was the year I stopped watching WWE. Well, it was pretty much that SummerSlam where he lost the title to Orton because of Triple H. That's the pay-per-view that caused me to stop watching WWE. That match.
I figured too, because I mean, like a lot of people. I mean, because I still talk to a lot of people who used to watch wrestling. And they said that like when that happened, they stopped watching it right then and there. Some people stopped watching WWE soon as the PG era came. In 2000, what was 2009 or 8?
Yeah, 2009. Yeah, 2009 because of Miss McMahon.
Yeah, when that came around, a lot of people stopped watching it right then and there, because the ruthless aggression era I felt like was more of a success than any era that they've ever had. I mean, some people would argue and say that the Attitude Era did.
I think both of them. Yeah, both of them was a success. Just everything after that just went to shit.
Yeah, and now that Vince has gotten all these sponsors, basically it's more children's sponsors than anything else.
Yeah.
Make-A-Wish Foundation, all that stuff. I don't really think he can even go back to I don't even think he could go back to the times like that.
He can because he got those shareholders too, and if he try to go back, man, they'll sink the company that way.
Yeah, but the funny thing about that is that the USA Network, they actually told Vince McMahon that they wanted more
Adult
adult
content.
content.
Yep.
So they didn't want the PG era of wrestling, of the wrestling content. They wanted basically more realism to wrestling.
Yeah. Because they knew what was
And
going
I
on.
think
They see the product. It was like, no, they need to change. But Vince is the one that's causing this issue.
right, because those networks don't. I don't know. I guess those networks don't really care about the motor sponsors. They care about
Yep.
their own, stuff because ratings is everything.
For them, yeah. But for wrestling fans, they should keep their nose out of that stuff for real.
Yeah, wrestling fans. That's always been my issue with other wrestling fans is talking about ratings. Like nobody works for no wrestling fan, including myself, works for any of these networks to be talking about who has the higher ratings or whatever. I don't care about that stuff. I mean, yeah, Impact Wrestling doesn't have 500,000 or close to 1 million viewers, because of the network they're on. But at least they're still on a network. I mean, they're the only wrestling company you can really say that have their own network because
Yeah.
They're owned by another
Yep.
company, which is Anthem.
Yep.
So
And they have more money
that's
than the
literally the
Cons
only.
family too.
Yeah. So um, I just wish that because my thing with Impact too, Impact Wrestling, because I've been watching them since the mid 2000s.
Same here.
I just think that now that Anthem Sport and Entertainment has Impact Wrestling with their own TV network, they don't really have to go out and ask anybody for a network now. I think since they have all that money, they need to, I don't know, figure out a way they can, get the network out, have more exposure because, I mean, there's not a lot of people that watch Access TV,
Yep.
And I think that I think it's all right to have music, the country and rock music stuff on there, but I think at some point, if I was them, I would try to get rid of that. I would try to get rid of it as soon as possible because they, now they're acquiring, the boxing stuff on there. You got wrestling. It's becoming more of a sports channel. So I think that that's the route that they need to go, because it will definitely get more eyes on the network and their content sports wise.
Yeah, it'd be less than it'd be less than like Pop TV or Destination America, where there was the only higher rating show on there, and everything else was just crappy TV.
Right.
I
I
mean,
think that Access TV, if Anthem really was to like change it around, I think that we could see some similarities to Spike TV.
yeah, they got a long way to go to hit that, but yeah, I believe that. And the thing that AEW fans keep on forgetting is that Impact was hitting 1 million views every week on Spike TV. Every single week.
Yeah.
It was up until Hogan and Bischoff came in, stuff went down, but they was pulling in million point whatever rating every week. It didn't even dip in sometimes. So that's why I
Yeah.
laugh at these
And
AEW
I think
fans. They don't want to look at that.
right, and I think that Impact was the only was the only company to reach surpass 2 million at one point. Two
Yeah,
million views on Spike TV at one point.
yep. And they was doing good numbers, and people keep saying that what was it? Hogan was on Impact's payroll, and he wasn't. Spike TV was actually paying Hogan. It was just Hogan wasn't promoting the
Right,
company and stuff like that.
right. And then Vince Russo also had a part in TNA not being successful too. I mean,
Yeah,
he had a part in it. Jeff Jarrett, I definitely feel like he obviously had a part in it because he just kind of not only did he screw the company, but he screwed himself over working with Vince Russo.
I mean,
And
Russo, he had some good ideas, but at times he had some bad ideas that should have been filtered out, just like when he was in WCW. But there was some good ideas he had.
yeah, I mean, he had some good ideas, but he at the same time he was trying to save his own ass when Spike TV was thinking about getting rid of, uh, being done with Dixie Carter and TNA. He was kind of trying to throw them on the bus because
Yeah,
you know he was trying to get a job at that network. Um, he was definitely trying to sabotage some things there, and I mean, there's no secret that him Hogan and Bischoff and Hogan don't like him, and he don't like them either. Which is funny to me that all these people that don't like each other, most wrestling fans don't like neither one of them.
and some of them
I
was
just find that funny.
yep, and some of them were the ones that caused the WCW to go under.
Yeah, and it's just like TNA became a rear view mirror of that too, and it's the same thing for AEW because when I look at AEW, I see WCW and ECW just kind of like smashed together.
Yep, and Impact
Is
actually
it?
had Impact did a bad job with it. They brought in former WWE wrestlers, but they didn't always push them to the top. They put them in factions to get people TV time, but they also allowed them to be themselves.
Right.
And
Um, and some people felt like that was the reason that hurted Impact. Dixie Carter bringing in, uh, certain people into the company, and some of it did, but I think what really hurt them. And Angelina Love said this. She said that Spike TV really wanted to keep Impact Wrestling on their network, but Dixie Carter wanted more. She wanted more than what she was getting, and she just wasn't satisfied. And
yeah,
she kind of shot. She did shoot herself in the foot, and she cost the company.
yeah, I can give them that downfall. If I was, I don't know, I don't think they had anybody in that company that could have worked, do like hands-on TV deal stuff except for her. But yeah, if I was somebody in the company, I was like, you know what? Give us this deal and we be good. Don't listen to what Dixie says. Just do what I say and we're good. But yeah, she shot herself in the foot. And there was some people in there that didn't like her. Victoria, she didn't like Dixie because of, I guess, how Dixie was acting. But for me, I really didn't like having Bruce Pritchard there because he was the reason why so many people got released. I mean, they had money to sign
Yeah,
people, but he just let the contracts relapse. Like RVD said in I think like 2014 interview, was like, well, I want to stay with Impact, but Pritchard never renewed my contract.
yeah, he was a piece of shit backstage. Nick Aldis even said that he basically was sabotaged his world championship
Yeah.
run. I just don't think that Bruce Pritchard should have ever been hired, because I don't know what he has really done that has been really good
Nothing.
towards wrestling.
Nothing.
Like,
He just did Brother Love, and that's it.
and you know, that wasn't even good.
I know, it was
Like
just.
the Brother Love gimmick, it
I
wasn't
think
even good.
I think it was either Dixie or Russo who hired him. That was the downfall for the company right there. Cause
Probably was Russo.
you brought in a WWE stooge who's a shield for Vince, who would say yes to anything Vince says, and he was the reason why the company was starting to go downhill because of that.
Yeah,
Now,
I think Russo brought him in because him and Russo um, are are friends. I believe they still are friends to this day. And it's funny because if you think of the whole Cornette and Vince Russo situation, who was always in the middle of it? It was Bruce. I just noticed that, like,
yeah,
he was always in the middle of the conflict between those guys.
and at the end of the day, who was always right? Cornette.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of people. There's plenty of people who I talk to or I used to talk to, like, I don't like Cornette. I don't like him because blah, blah, blah. It's like, did you actually sit down and listen to his podcast? Because I've been listening to his podcast since 2000 and I think like 19 or whatever. Everything he said in the
Yeah, same.
podcast was true. Everything.
Yeah.
He might have a little sexist comment or a little borderline racist comment, but at the same time, he's telling you what's going on in the company without even knowing it.
Right.
And the thing,
Right.
and the funny thing is, Tony is so sensitive. He's actually helping Cornette, because Cornette said in multiple podcasts that anytime his name is mentioned on AEW TV, he gets a 6-figure increase in his traffic and merchandise. So
he ain't lying about that.
yeah, so if the Young Bucks want Cornette to be quiet, why are you guys always mentioning his name, putting more money in his pocket, bringing more people to him?
Right. And not just him, but like they're mentioning people from WWE, you know.
Oh my goodness, that's like,
it seemed like they've been bringing in Paul Heyman a lot.
that, man. For me, anytime they mention WWE, that's for me. That's like a cry for attention. Hey WWE, look at me! Look, I'm competing just like you guys. Look at us! Look at
Right.
us! And Vince is like, okay, what's on
Right.
what's on the news now? Like, he's looking at it for a second. Okay, they're not gonna be a competition and leave. Oh wow, you pulling
Right.
what 800,000 views? Get up to 1 million weekly. They can't do
Right.
that because they're stuck in the niche that they cannot get out of without angering their little fan base, who I like to call the stands. Not fans, the stands. Because anytime you hear AEW getting in trouble for something, they're always coming out of work, always taking Tony's, you know what, out of their mouths and saying, no, Tony didn't do this. Tony didn't do that. It's like the proof is right there. The proof is right. Then people's like, man, I stopped watching wrestling a long time ago, but AEW got me back in the wrestling. I'm like, I feel sorry for you then. Because me, I don't watch WWE. I definitely watch AEW. I sometimes watch Impact when they're good. ROH, used to watch them. I mostly watch like Lucha Libre and wrestling in Japan. Cause nothing in America, nothing's good. Impact is not taking. I have on 3 multiple occasions sent a long contact form message saying, Impact, you need to sign these people before AEW does, and you looking weak.
Right.
No, nobody. They did nothing.
I said on Twitter, and I think you commented on this too. I said on Twitter probably a week or two ago that, because I retweeted what Jay Chris said, and I actually interviewed him for the podcast last year. It was right after he got his contract expired with Impact, which I felt like they should have never let him go, because he didn't have anything to do with what his brother did.
Yeah, but I
they
also
let
think
him
he
go.
wanted to get away, just to do his own thing.
I mean, he said when I talked to him, he said he would have loved to stay with the company, but he said it you know, it is what it is. You know, he said hopefully one day he'll be back in the company, and they actually let him come back for an X Division Championship match, right?
Yeah.
Earlier
I mean,
in
if
the year.
anything, Sammy, he needs to step up and say, hey, bring back Nevaeh, bring back Jake. Those who are
Right,
very important. Yeah, they might not be big names, but they are draws for your company.
right. And um like I said, I retweeted this a couple weeks ago. Impact is just letting AEW just sign everybody. And I'm not saying that Impact can get all these people, but Anthem Sports has the money. Okay, they bought a movie production company for $73 million. You can't tell me you don't have the money for that.
Yeah, and
You
Impact,
know?
for some reason, I mean, they're in the same situation as ROH and Sinclair. I'm not sure how much money they have for a budget, but they can afford to have, what, $100 million for a budget.
Right.
That's nothing for the owner. Like $100 million,
Right.
you can easily sign people underneath that money. Say, hey, we got $100 million for a budget. This is how many people we can sign. You just let Mercedes Martinez leave, and she was just with the company, and she
And
goes
she
right.
wanted to sign. She wanted to sign a long-term deal with them, and they didn't do anything. They just like, it's a handshake deal. I call it the handshake
Yeah,
deal. Impact, they work out these handshake deals where people aren't there for only one hot minute, then bam, they're gone. They're showing up at another promotion, and just to sign with the promotion that they appear, the next promotion they appear within. That, like you said, that's what we saw with Mercedes Martinez.
and it's like,
She was there for one hot minute, and then bam, she's all elite
yeah,
now.
and for me, it's like anytime I see this, like I'd rather have Dixie. At least she was
Yeah, I said that too.
yeah. At least she renew or extend your contract. Scott Demore is doing nothing. All he's doing is sitting on
It's
his
not
hands.
even.
Huh?
I don't even think it's. I don't even think it's really. Is it really him
I don't
that's
know.
doing it, or is it Anthem? Because I don't even know how that works. You know, considering that they own Impact. I don't know if they tell him, well, this is the limit of the contract offers. I don't know. Um, I think, but I have to say I agree with you. I think it's definitely some of Scott Moore's decision making. Now that Gail Kim is on they said she's on the management team.
It's
Hopefully,
it's either
she will
Ed.
have.
It's Ed something. Ed Norham, who's the president. So either
Yeah, I think that
and
he's
Scott is
really
the
the
vice
person
president.
that.
Yeah, Scott's the vice president.
Yeah, I think that I think he's really the reason why um, Impact is not getting these names. I don't know if Morrissey is even signed full time.
And no, I
You
want him
know,
gone. I want him gone. Period.
I mean he's in the world championship match. So I mean, from that, I'm assuming that he signed, but I can't even
Yeah.
really assume because, again, I mean, it could have been another. It could be a handshake deal. He was supposed to be gone before, the year went out. He's supposed to be gone in October.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I'd rather have Dixie because she at least make a attempt to keep you. It's just being under this
Yeah,
this
Dixie.
TV company, it's like the lawyers are not the lawyers, the accountants are doing everything. No, we can't do this because we need this certain amount of money and this person wants this amount of money. It's like this is a hot ticket wrestler. Keep him on the roster. They can work anywhere else. Just keep him on the roster. And they can't even do that.
Right. I really think that they have the money. I really feel like they have the money to get these names. You know, they seemed like they were very close to getting Braun Strowman.
No. If they got Braun Strowman,
But
I would stop watching them again.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's a meathead.
He is.
Just like Ryback and Goldberg. I think he's definitely a meathead. But I mean, at the same time, they could benefit from him in some way, you know, because of his name, and that probably would have brought some type of exposure, but not if they could get him. I'm fine with that. Bray Wyatt is the person I really wanted them to try to get.
Same here.
I,
But the
I
thing
mean,
is, are they going to keep him on the contract for long term? Because they let Martinez go, and she's one of the best women out there, and they just let her walk. I'm not sure they're going to do the same thing with Bray.
Right, and we know Bray Wyatt loves to have creative freedom.
Control. Yep.
I don't know if AEW can necessarily give that to him.
They won't.
Like Impact,
They won't.
Impact is full of creative control, full of creative freedom.
Yep.
So I don't really see AEW giving that to him, and I just don't think Bray Wyatt fits that brand anyway.
He doesn't, because of how big it is and how you can say about 20 of the wrestlers are protected by Tony, so there's no way for Bray to fit in there where he can beat like a CM Punk or Daniel Bryan and them cleanly without Tony doing something to mess it up for him.
Right. Now I know some people have said, "What about Malachi Black?" Because him and Malachi Black characters are the same, and I said, "No,
they're
not.
different. Yeah, they're way different."
I said Malachi Black. He's able to get away with you know, the lights going out and everything appearing in the ring. It's the same thing that the Undertaker has done. He has the Undertaker, basically the Undertaker's gimmick. Bray Wyatt's style is completely completely different. It's way more out there than the Undertaker's, than Kane's, than Malachi Black, any sinister character that we've seen on wrestling. His character is way more out there. So I think Impact is definitely the place where that style is needed more. And if Bray Wyatt goes there, that's a lot of eyes that Impact can have.
Yep.
So I mean, I don't know what 2022 has for them. I don't know what they got planned. It seems like they're starting off just right by Hard to Kill. Looking at the match cards, it looks pretty good.
But when they let Mercedes go, that's like a big name you just lost there, and everybody's like, "Oh, what's going to happen to the women's division now?" Because you lost a key component who can be a mentor to future knockouts.
Right, and she brings real edginess to.
She does
to the knockouts, the division. I don't think we've had the edginess in a very long time. I mean, I think the last time we've had edginess for the Impact knockouts division is probably when Victoria was there.
Yeah, roughly around that time. When Catalina Lee when she was also there as Winter. That's when it was like a little bit edgier, yeah.
Yeah. Su Yung, I would actually say too. I mean,
yeah, but she's out. She ain't wrestling right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw that she's pregnant, so that's pretty good.
The only thing
You know, pretty good for her.
yeah, I can give credit to Impact for sneaking that in there to let people know that she was pregnant by using Brandy, Lauren, and Kimberly.
Yeah, a lot of people were turned off though by the by the whole, special effects, that they had for that segment.
I'm perfectly fine with
I
it.
was
It fits.
I was like, well, I mean, nobody was saying that when the Undertaker was shooting lightning out his hands and stuff. Everybody thought that was cool.
Exactly.
So I was like, I'm not gonna even,
Yeah.
um, you know, get into that with those fans that basically were trying to tear down. I like we said, a really great segment, a great way to let everybody know, hey, she's pregnant. So, I don't know. I don't know what Impact has in store for this year. Like I said, it seems like they're off to a great start. A lot of people are excited that Jonathan Gresham is going to be in the Impact Wrestling ring, first time ever
I
with
want to
the
know what his
ROH
contract is,
Championship
though. I want to know what his contract is before he gets in the ring.
with
Cause
Impact.
yeah, for Gresham, I want to know if he's going to be in Impact long term or he's just there for 2 events. Because I'm getting really tired of Impact just bringing in people, then they leave a month or 2 later. It's like, no, you need to keep talent. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know who you are, Ed, but you're dumber than what you look. You might have millions of dollars, but you need to look at the landscape. AEW is
Right.
constantly signing people. They're taking women who are working in the indies, having an AEW dark. How are you going to grow your women's division and most of the good women who wrestle well with AEW? You can't
Right.
you can't say, well, we can't sign good people. They on AEW dark. That is a pay per appearance type of structure. You mean to them you cannot approach them, give them a good deal, and bring them onto the company? It's because Anthem and Impact are being lazy. You can
That basically is pure laziness. I've said this from the time they let somebody leave what they should have kept. I forgot who it
Michael
was,
Bennett.
but
They said Michael Bennett shouldn't have left because he really wanted to stay with Impact and he was promised a championship run. But
well, see that around that time, around that time, I mean, different owner and a lot of shit was happening.
yeah, and he was
You know,
a Corgan guy too. So when Corgan left, yeah, that reduced
yeah.
his chance of staying. But Kevin Owens was the one that convinced him to not resign with Impact and go to WWE. Boy, he looked stupid for making that deal.
It was just the saying, everybody don't belong in every company.
Yeah,
Some people fit in this company, some people fit in that company or the other. And I just think that's really what it is. Um, Mike Bennett, I hope that he does. I hope that him and Maria does sign with Impact, and I feel like a way that they could really bring him in is involving him in some type of way with Moose, because he's the reason that Moose was an Impact.
yep.
So if they could revisit that, bam, that's a good book in there. Bring him in and have him have some type of involvement with the World Championship and Moose, because he's the reason why Moose was even an Impact in the first place.
Man, if I had
So
the if I had the had Impact's budget, man, I'd sign everybody that's talented that I like from ROH and put them in the ring. But knowing Impact, they're not going to even try to capitalize on that. They're just going to sit on their hands and feet and sign some subpar wrestler, then wait, 3 weeks, the person's gone.
Right. Now, do you think Taya Valkyrie will come back to Impact? Do you think that she might go to AEW?
More than likely, she's going back to AAA. That's what I saw. That's what I know. She did a promo that said, "Hey, Deanna, she's coming back for her title. Come back for the Queens title in AAA. So she might go back to Impact. I don't know, but she deserved to get released from WWE, and here's why. She is a fame seeker, attention seeker. She's going to chase with Johnny all these big fancy places to go and do subpar stuff. Lucha Underground, they made the whole thing about them at some point. Got boring. WWE hardly did anything with them together. If you didn't know who they were, you didn't even know they was married. Impact, no. Then she complains that WWE is sexist. No, Ty, you need to look in the mirror. Before you got pregnant, you were slim. You could move all around the ring. After you had that kid, you blew up. You didn't even try to reduce most of that weight anymore or try to improve your weight in the ring.
She had a kid?
Yeah, she had a kid with Johnny. I
did not know that. They hardly even show the kid.
Exactly. And it's like that there is no way she'd go from what she looked like in Lucha Underground to what she looked like in Impact and WWE without a kid being involved. There's no way unless she just started to want to eat more and more and more. Then she's like, WWE's Ages Against Women's like, you could have dunked that. I mean, I'm no rocket scientist, but when you open a bank account, does a bank account check your credit? Right. So you mean you couldn't sit there, Talia, and look up the history of WWE? Oh no, you just want to chase that money. You see, Talia, I don't care if she hear this or not. Talia, Talia, you kind of stupid. Like all the wrestlers who got released because they left their home promotions to chase WWE, you got what deserved. Some of them harshly, some of them not, because you had years, decades to check. I mean, in most cases, you all watched WWE at one point. You all saw the releases and you all heard the stories. That those contracts. Yeah.
That's why I didn't understand why a lot of them went back there in the first place. Like, and they knew deep down inside that they probably were not going to be there that long.
Exactly.
Some of them knew that they were going to get released.
Those contracts are not guaranteed like they used to be. Vince is not in control of the contracts. JR, when he was there, he hardly let people out of the contracts or released them. It's when John Knights got involved that these releases got bigger and bigger. Then Nick Khan took over everything, so Vince is sitting back. Nick Khan is making all the moves, not Vince. Right. So when y'all heard that news that Nick Khan, somebody from Hollywood who do much as he can to make sure the money is low on budget to keep the company profitable. You should have known right there, yep, I better start looking at other promotions. Right. Especially the ones from overseas, which y'all visas, yeah, those things are taken care of by WWE. Once you become independent, that's kind of hard to take care of. Like LaFisto, right. She's an independent female wrestler from Canada. It took her nearly December to get back to the United States because of her visa. Right. And she's independent, so it's like these wrestlers have every tool in their pocket. They have friends in the company that say, hey, WWE is a good place, but those contracts are not guaranteed. But this is that. I credit Andrade for one thing and one thing only. He told Roosh not to sign with the WWE. What did Roosh do? He went to MLW, held title a little bit, then he went to ROH. Never once he went to WWE. Because that's what a good friend would do for you. Hey, do not come here because they're not good with non-white people.
Right.
Like I follow this guy called HP the Ghost, like a young black talented dude who wrestled like in Georgia and stuff like that. He has a dark character, face paint and everything. It clicks. You would never see it in the WWE or AEW. What would you see in those two companies when you're dealing with black people or Hispanic people?
They're always doing something goofy.
Yeah.
Or they're always doing something that is stereotypical.
Yep. Did you know that the second Sin Cara, he was there, they unmasked and made him like a little typical Mexican gangster. Holocaust or something.
Unoco, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was just that
stupid.
was terrible.
It was.
I mean, that was terrible. And I remember in the mid 2000s they had the Mexicools.
Yep.
And they would come out. Their interest would be them coming out on lawnmowers. And
I remember that too.
I was like, wow. It was just
Yep.
Yeah, they really, the ruthless aggression era, I think, was an era that it was good, but you could see like some stuff they couldn't probably pull off today.
Yep.
Because I think the ruthless aggression era was more sinister with stuff than Attitude Era.
Yeah, it was that swan song. It was that swan song because they can't do anything now. They had the Tori Wilson and the stable, what was it, Playboy stuff. They had the Diamond Reed and the Tori Wilson stuff. They had the Diva Search, which was Jonah and Nias' idea. Go figure. The divas, the women's, they didn't get proper TV time during that time either. It was mostly bra and panty stuff. The one who was carrying the division mostly was Chyna, Lita, and Trish Stratus.
Right.
Everybody else was just replaceable.
Some of the ones who were very talented around that time, when the Divas, because a lot of them around that time wasn't necessarily from the Divas search. Some of them came from OVW. I know Mickie James being one of them.
Yep.
Beth Phoenix being one. I don't know if Michelle McCool came from OVW, but I felt like she was really talented. I mean, she was really great in the ring, you know.
Yeah, but she got kind of bland quickly.
Yeah.
Like, I tried to get into her character, but she was just too bland and boring.
I think when they put her with Layla, I think that's where that's when she really became, and that's probably the last time of the era of WWE where people were heels. Like the early 2010s, that era. That's when we had heels. That was the last time we really truly had heels. Nobody was booing the baby face. Nobody was cheering heels around that time. You know, people genuinely did not like Layla and Michelle McCool because we all thought that they were annoying, and you know that.
Yeah, I mean for them too. Yeah, it worked for those two.
Unless
yes.
You're watching Impact Wrestling, or you're watching some other promotion that's not AEW or WWE, you don't really see people booing the heels, you know.
Yeah, and it's more like that happened towards the before 2011 and stuff, before CM Punk and his pipe bomb. And that's when
Yeah,
everybody started to like the heel, because at that point people start saying, okay, why are the baby faces acting so stupid? Or why is the heel saying
right,
so much accurate information? And it's,
right.
and it's yeah, and it's only in the WWE that happened. In Impact,
that,
that hardly happened because AJ wouldn't allow that when he was a baby face.
right, and I think that people don't want to address it, or they don't want to acknowledge the fact that WWE really was the reason why a lot of things in wrestling changed, and not for the good. And like we just said, CM Punk pipe bomb segment on Raw in 2011, he was a heel around that time, but everything he said was what something like a baby face would say. You know, his character became more of a Stone Cold Steve Austin character. He said what was on his mind, and he was not a baby face, he was not a heel. He was very much in the middle. So I think after that we started seeing more people be in the middle more than being a baby face or just a heel.
Yeah, like the Shield, they were somewhat like a twin or whatever.
Yeah, they were definitely they were in the middle for a while until they got with the authority. Then you're like, yeah,
Yeah,
okay, this is a heel faction. You know,
yeah, and that was all right. And just I knew the writing on the wall was gonna end for them sooner or later. I just didn't know who's gonna bite the bullet and betray the other two. And you feel
a
like,
lot of people, a lot of people said it was originally supposed to be Roman. Um, I could have I could have saw that working in some ways, but Seth Rollins, I think he was the perfect fit for it because he just looked like he just looked scummy. You know, he looked scummy. He looked like he would turn his back on
yeah,
anybody. So I think that having him be that person was a smart idea. Um, I think when the Shield got back together in 2017, that's when Roman Reigns should have turned heel on them, and that would have made everything really good. I mean, for Roman, because that was the year for Roman to actually really turn heel, but they didn't do that. Um, and it didn't make it any better for him or his character, as people were treating him as a heel, even though he was a baby face.
yeah. And it wasn't like his fault. It was primarily Vince's fault.
Right. Yeah. Because
Writing his promos and stuff like that, was like, no, that's not what somebody of Roman Reigns looking caliber should be doing.
right, and now the new Roman Reigns, I don't really watch the product like that anymore. I do see them on my timeline because I'll see people repost, clips and stuff from SmackDown and Raw. I don't really care about Raw, but it seems like SmackDown is the A show for them. Um, at one point in time, it was NXT, but I guess it's SmackDown now, and it seems like Roman Reigns is more natural.
Yeah, you
Um,
just letting him be
it,
himself.
it's the same thing with the Usos because the Usos were a underrated tag team for a while, and it was because of that gimmick. But as soon as they turned heel in 2016, um, against the American Alpha, because American Alpha was a babyface team that everybody liked it. I mean, everybody liked it. The American Alpha, Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. A lot of people liked that tag team, and it made sense to say, "Hey, let's turn the Usos heel against a tag team that people are going to have sympathy for." Um, and knowing the fact that the Usos is kind of blending away, the Usos, we want them to still be in the tag team division, but how can we turn the volume up a notch? And them turning heel in the way that they did it on the American Alpha was genius. That was really a great book in there. And from that moment, I was like, we're getting a natural feel of the Usos, and they literally became the best tag team, and still is the best tag team in not just in WWE, but I guess you could say in wrestling right now, wrestling history. You know.
Yeah, I got a few teams that are above those guys right now. Like they're all right, but they're not like on the levels of the Briscoes, who are legit been doing this for almost 15, maybe longer years. Who
Yeah.
outside of wrestling, they actually live on a chicken farm and they actually do what they say they do. The Gorillas of Destiny, still one of my favorite teams. Tamatanga used to be in the military, so he got that structure. You don't really see that with the Usos and their little legal issues and stuff.
Right.
Who else? Like the Hardy Boys, despite Jeff's issues and stuff, still one of the best.
Right.
The Steiners, I know they're on there for sure. I can't leave them off. The Midnight Express, gotta say that because Cornette's one of my favorite personalities. He just don't care like I do.
Right.
The Wolves, definitely on there. Wolves.
Oh man, yes, yes.
Wolves.
Yeah, the Usos are not even.
Yeah.
I think the Usos are on my top 10, but they're not even. I don't even think they're. I don't even think they're in the top 5.
Yeah, for me they're not. And like
I don't even think they're in the top 5 for me.
yeah, and for
You
me,
know.
my favorite team actually is America Most Wanted with James Storms and Chris Harris. Despite just working for
Yeah.
TNA, they held the NWA Tag Team titles 7 times. And they worked
Yeah.
as a unit. Everybody else, they took time to gel together. Those two was good from day one.
Right.
And
And it seemed like any tag team that you put James Storms in, he made it work. I mean, Gunner he's not a good wrestler at all. He's not even
he was
decent.
terrible.
It made James Storms made him look good.
Exactly.
He made him look really good. I really loved um his him teaming up with Bobby Roode. That was magical there.
That
Beer
was
money.
good, but I felt like for me, it was like, Beer Money is good, but America's Most Wanted is better. Like, Beer
Oh
Money is
yeah,
just,
nothing like the original.
yeah, like Beer Money was just about having a party and having a good time. No, AMW is like, we're just gonna come down there, hit you in the mouth, hit you with a beer bottle, knock you out, take the titles. Like, they got down to
Right.
business with America's Most Wanted. Beer Money was more
And if you
like
think about it,
party.
if you think about it, Beer Money was basically a knockoff of AMW because they needed somebody to basically stick with James Storms, because I think around that time Chris Harris was kind of doing his own thing,
Yeah,
and then he left TNA
for
in
WWE.
2007
Yep.
for WWE, and that did not go out good.
Yep.
And that was like I think after that, that was the last time he wrestled for any company. Then he came back in 11 when Matt Hardy
Yep.
made him as the surprise tag team
Yeah,
partner
I remember
when
that.
everybody thought it was Jeff.
I remember that.
That
Yeah.
was a great booking. That was a great
And I
booking.
love the way they went off the
Bring
air.
somebody. Yeah, bring somebody back that Jay Storm wouldn't expect and knows him very well.
I
I
mean,
think that was a great setup there.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I feel bad. I forgot to add. What was it? LAX and the Naturals. I feel bad for not adding those guys on my list, but those guys are on my list too. Chase Stevens and Andy Douglas, man, they was crisp in the ring with the franchise next to him. And LAX,
Yeah.
man, you can't touch that. That's pure gold right there. Homicide and Hernandez, man. That was like the
Yeah,
freaking gold
man.
age of Impact.
Yeah, those were definitely the good days of Impact. I want to ask you, how do you record on Discord, or does it just automatically record?
No, you use a I think you use OBS whatever to record the conversation while you're talking on Discord. So you can't record on Discord. You just gotta use use the other recording thing that you're using while you're talking on Discord. So it'll still pick it up.
Would it allow me to do it on Zoom if I can I connect it to Zoom?
No, I think it's two different programs. They do the same thing, but you couldn't do it. I think you can test it, but I mostly just use OBS with Discord because it makes it a lot easier. Or if I'm using Skype, I still use OBS. So you should be good. Yeah.
I mean, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it. I don't know if we're gonna record. I mean, at least we having a conversation, though. I would say at least we have a good conversation about just to meet each other and stuff like that. Have a good conversation because I know we share a lot of similar thoughts about wrestling today and all these wrestling companies, especially WWE and AEW.
Yeah, I lost so many.
Tony.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man. I can answer it.
Oh, I wanted to ask you because I don't know if we talk about earlier the fans' reaction to Tony Khan and the whole Big Swole situation.
No, but man, I knew it was going to happen. That they was going to come out the woodwork and start talking smack. I saw so many
people. A lot of people stuck up for him.
Yeah, I heard about it through, of course, one of the Shield channels, WrestleMania. That's the employee gonna get from me from that stupid channel. Oh, Tony Khan said something about Big Swole. Then you got all the defenders. Well, she wasn't no good anyway. Her and her kind are bad for wrestling. You don't need no color diversity. You need people with the best experience. And I'm thinking to myself, not all these white wrestlers are the best for the experience. Look at the speaking out movement. How many of those guys got in trouble? Mostly white guys. Only probably one or two black people. Mostly white guys.
Right.
So do you really want to say race shouldn't be an issue? It should be. If I'm working for a company, I want to make sure there's a black person in management that I can talk to them personally about what it like to be a black person in this country or in this company.
Right.
If you just get a white dude's not going to understand your plight. He's not going to be like, okay, yeah, let me look into this. I can see your viewpoint. He's not going to do that.
And the fact that people say stuff like that, because I just don't think a lot of people truly know the history of wrestling like they should, because before we were all born, obviously way before we were born, because wrestling's been around just as long as any other sport. It was a white dominant sport, and it still is. It's always been a white dominant sport. Around Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes time. I mean, it didn't really have that much for black wrestlers. They didn't really allow black people into wrestling. As the years went on, civil rights movement, all that stuff. Stuff became, stuff became more accepted. We started, being able to work in the same places as whites and stuff like that. And wrestling has always had that issue. It's just it's never really been addressed the way that it should be. And these wrestling owners that said that, you know, especially the two billionaire owners, they said that they push for diversity, but it's not really good enough because we still see white wrestlers in majority of the storylines and majority of the world title matches. They think because they give us one or two, three matches uh, that include a black wrestler in a world championship match that means something.
No,
It's
exactly.
more than just that. It's the gimmick. It's the way that we be portrayed on TV. You know, powerhouse
Hob, yeah.
Hobbs. He basically cooned out.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. He's still new to
and
wrestling, so he got a lot to learn.
I mean, he's in a great position, no doubt. He's in a great position,
And that's the problem. When you
but
that
but
that is
but
the
he but
yeah.
that but the position that he's in is being somebody else's lackey. At the same time, yeah, like he's like I say, he's in a great position, but he's still portraying to be somebody's lackey, you know, and being behind Ricky Starks, and he's bigger than Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
He's got more size than Ricky Starks, and to be honest, I find him more entertaining and probably I prefer him to be the FTW champion over Brian Cage and Tony whatever his name, Ricky Starks, Tony
Yeah.
Starks, whatever the hell his name is. I would prefer Powerhouse Hobbs to be the champion over him. But it's just like seems like he's a bodyguard almost.
I mean, if you look at wrestling through the whole thing, anytime the company gets into a media storm or whatever, who are among the first people to come out and speak out? The black wrestlers.
Right.
Every time they say, "Oh, they treat us well," they blah blah blah. But yet, when some of these people leave, they're like, "Well, they said the N word, they did this and that," and it comes like, "Where was that when you was defending the company?" Oh, is that money really that important to you? Your integrity is on the line, and you going for the money. So you can't.
Right.
Then when you leave, you want sympathy from the black community, but you're gonna have certain people in those communities like, okay, so where were you when the company got in trouble for this problem and you was out there speaking for them? You was cooning for them. You was been Uncle Tom for them.
Right.
So you
But
can't.
do you think though that Big Swole, when she said diversity, because diversity is more than just it's not just race, but it's also sexual orientation, gender equality. Do you think she's talking about gender equality, like the females get get more opportunities than the males, or do you think it's both? Is that and is race? Because I think it's both.
I
I
think
think it was about race and the fact that the women uh, don't are not being don't have really you know, as a big representation as the male wrestlers always the male wrestlers consistently. And she's also said that AEW does not have any structure, which we already know that
Yep.
they don't have any structure at all. WWE has structure, and their product is not even good right as we speak. It's not good at all. But at least we know they have structure.
Yeah, and the thing is though, she won both, like you said. I agree with her. She won more diversity for the women because where are the women mostly wrestling at? AEW Dark. They're not wrestling on Dynamite.
Right.
They're not wrestling on Rampage. That it's like that's Tony's quota. That's not all these women, but let's not put them on TV, except for a handful of people. Diversity,
Right. And
for the diversity, I think she was talking about we need more people that are non-white in management. So if you have an issue with somebody and you can find somebody who's has the same race or the same background as you, you can relate to them more than just some plain Jane white guy that don't really care what you have to say after you talk to him for about 5 minutes. And
right.
I've been in that situation myself before, where you talk to a white guy who try to explain stuff to him that he won't get, but if you talk to a black person, they understand you immediately.
Well, the problem is with most white folks is they try to tell us how we are, and they try to tell us how we live, and they don't know us personally. They don't know how all black people live.
Exactly.
So they try to tell us how we live through a stereotypical manner, and I won't accept that
Me
because
either.
you know, you know, you know, and Kanye West and Candace Owens is making it is obviously making us look bad, you know.
Yeah, I don't even be
Not
bothered with those two.
not just them, but also not just them, but also people within our community that kill
Yep.
their own people, that rob from their own people. Because my when it comes to coon, my definition of coon is very broad. You know, you gotta not only the people that sell out, like Candace Owens and Kanye West, but I feel like a sellout too is when you killing and you robbing your own black people.
Exactly. Don't forget to put
Like
Mark
these
Henry and Booker T in that category too, because anytime that he got in trouble, those two are the first two to come out to say something.
Yeah, and Tony Atlas too.
Yep. And I had many people come at me like, "Oh, you wouldn't say stuff to Mark Henry to his face." Like, yeah, I say it to his face because I know if he put his hands on me, I get a nice lawsuit against him. Because my words are just
Right,
words. The moment he put his hands on me,
right,
that is a lawsuit.
right.
Like he was going at Leo Rush talking about something. I was like, man, Mark Henry need to shut up. Stop trying to be Mr. Suck Up to the boss man and stay in your places. Mark, nobody cares what you have to say, dude. That's why when
Cause
he was on,
he
yeah,
stuck up for WWE, and look where he's at. He's over in
catering.
another billion-dollar company.
Yeah, catering.
Now,
And he sounds terrible.
I never thought, and I never thought, as a wrestling fan, I would ever see Mark Henry, Big Show, show up at a different wrestling promotion other than WWE. Like I never thought I would see them ever leave there. Um, Jim Ross. I mean, I kind of knew he was already out, so that
Yep.
was no surprise. And he was already doing stuff with New
New,
Japan and
yep.
other promotions, so that was no shocker there. But like Big Show, far as like talent wise, that have been wrestling in that WWE ring for over 20 years, close to 20 years. I never thought I would see Big Show and Mark Henry leave WWE and go somewhere else. Christian Cage, I could see it
Yeah,
because
he did before
it's
with
not the first
Impact.
time he's done it before. He's went to TNA, had great success, and I don't know how I feel about his run at AEW now. I feel like it's just kind of meh
It's
right
stale.
now.
It's boring.
I mean,
It was just for shock value.
we've gotten more value out of Christian and Impact in AEW, and he was signed to AEW when he was the Impact World Champion.
Yeah, because people in Impact who hopefully are still with the company since his 10 years in Impact know how valuable he is, and he's not always have to be in the world title. He's not always have to be the main draw, but he can put over people a lot better than most of the guys in AEW, who most of them are only there due to being friends with the guys who used to be in creative control, who are just, I think, vice presidents by name and nothing else. Because you know how
Right.
Tony is. He can have control of everything.
Right. And it's just it's just really crazy how much talent he's hoarding over there. And he's like, well, I'm just gonna let them, I'm just gonna let their contracts, expire. I feel like it's stupid to do if you don't feel like their services are their talent is not needed there. There's no reason for you to wait until their contract is up because you don't have nothing for them to do. You don't even have them on any television program anymore.
Exactly.
So what is the point of keeping them there? It's the same thing with WWE. Like, you're not going to have anything for that talent. You should just let them leave, but do it in doing it in a more of a manner of not just releasing them because you just saying you're not trying or you just gave up on them. That's a really shitty way.
Yeah.
And they have done. I don't really like the 90-day non-compete clause. I feel like it's stupid. If I release you, there's no way I'm putting you on 90-day non-compete contract rule, and still paying you money. Because once you're released, you get your last paycheck, and then you're out the door.
Yeah, for me, I think that should be optional because I know for those 90 days, you still getting paid by the WWE for doing nothing, but that should be optional. So, like, if some people are like concerned that they can't find booking or because their star power's not that big, yeah, take that 90 days, go to the gym, work yourself out, do what you gotta do to reinvent yourself. But if you like somebody
Right.
like say like a AJ Styles, if he should ever get released, he can immediately get bookings somewhere where he doesn't need that 90 days.
Right.
But there's some wrestlers like the Iconics and all those foreign wrestlers that work on visas, they need that 90 days. Otherwise, they would have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah. Now, do you think that do you think there's been a breakout star of 2021 or just in years that have gone by altogether that have really reinvented them, that we could say really truly reinvented themselves and looks like $1,000,000? I feel like Morrissey is one of those people. I feel like he really reinvented himself. He took a real life situation with himself and made it into the character he is today. And not only that, but it tells a story. And I think that's where a lot of wrestlers today are lacking is the storytelling of not just the storyline that they're in, but the story behind their character and how their character became to be.
I think it was, this is going to be a surprise one. I think it was Jacob Fatu when he's in MLW. Yeah, he held the title about I think like 500, maybe 700 days. And credit to MLW, they didn't put him in just some half-ass matches. They actually put him in high-quality matches that make sense, and they didn't just throw him out there. The second,
Right.
the
Now
second,
that's a real Samoan badass.
yep. I think the second person who this one is going to even surprise you more was Eva Lee's. She got
Yeah.
released from AEW for Thunder Rosa, same issue with the other black wrestlers in history, playing these games to be sucker up to the ownership, whatever. She got released. She started winning like 3 or 4 titles. getting high quality, consistent booking on indies, and people keep trying to write her off, but she's still wrestling. She's still performing because nobody believes all the stuff you hear from AEW. You see, she been wrestling way longer than Thunder Rosa, so she got connections everywhere. Shine is gonna keep her around. Jazz's promotion is gonna keep her around. These people who shield for AEW honestly think WWE and AEW are only two companies that's worth wrestling. Yet some of those same wrestlers are on their roster made their names in the indies. So you cannot say there's no independent scene. Because if there's no independent scene, there would be no WWE or no AEW right now. There would have been no Young Bucks right now. No Kenny Omega right now.
Right. And I had this guy, he's I forgot what's his Twitter account name, but every time I say something about WWE, he has some of my comment. He goes and tells me what WWE done. If it wasn't for WWE, wouldn't be no wrestling. And I had to let him know if it wasn't for the territories, there wouldn't be no WWE. Because that's who WWE, at the time when it was called WWWF, and Vince Sr. was in charge, he leaned on the territories and he worked with the territories, and that's how he wanted wrestling to be. That was his vision. Now his son, Vince Jr., had different plans than that.
Yep, and Vince, to be real more scummy, Vince Sr. said, "I promise you, my son will not mess up the NWA territory." What did Vince Jr. do? Went in and bought out most of the profitable territories. There was an interview where Raven was talking about that. Yeah, he knew Vince was up to some scummy stuff because if he heard somebody in Portland was doing good business, he would buy the promotion out in Portland and get the key talent into his company just to sit there. And mind you, Raven, the guy who was, I think, like Meta or whatever the thing is, he's high intelligent. Even if he's strung out on something, he's high intelligent. He can get into Ivy School and be a teacher. He saw this stuff going on. So if he saw this stuff going on, the rest of these companies should have saw that.
Right. And it's just crazy that everybody seems to think that WWE is just I mean, I will give Vince this credit and say I can't even really say that because I mean wrestling was already mainstream before Vince. Vince did not make wrestling mainstream. Wrestling was already mainstream. Vince made WWE mainstream. He made his company mainstream, but he didn't necessarily make wrestling mainstream. You know,
and his company wasn't it wasn't even the first company, the wrestling promotion, to have a pay-per-view. That was ECW.
Right. And people will credit and say, well, WWE's the reason why TNA was around. I don't agree with that. I think that by WCW...
by WCW closing,
by them closing was the reason why we saw wrestling companies like MLW, Ring of Honor, and Impact, come around, because people forget this, but not everybody from WCW went over to WWE.
Exactly.
Not everybody went, and some of them
out their contracts.
Some of them that came over, they only came over for a little bit, just to when they did that invasion shit, and they had them fight. They had every ECW and WWE and WCW superstar fight in the ring, and they had Stone Cold come and kick everybody else's ass.
Yep.
That was the only time that you saw literally had almost the whole roster of WCW, ECW come around, but the main people in WCW, I would say for the most part, went to WWE, except for Sting.
Yep.
That's the only person who didn't go.
He was smart too.
Yeah, he went over. He when Jeff Jarrett started the company with his father, when he started TNA with his father, that's where Sting went. He went to TNA and with a lot of other people, and that's where they helped build that company.
And the thing is, Sting did the one thing that I say already in this podcast. He did the right. He watched the product and he saw what they was doing with WCW guys. So he was like, "Oh, I got common sense. If they're gonna treat Booker T like this, and he used to be the WCW champion, I think I'm just gonna go to TNA where it's more family oriented and they're gonna give me a better chance." And what happened? He been there, what? He was there like a decade or so. Go to WWE, got injured. More of the story, Sting. You should have just stayed in TNA. Seriously, you should have just stayed in TNA. You didn't have to chase some money. What happened? You went there, you got injured in the first night. Or one of the pay-per-views.
I think he went to WWE because he wanted to do something he never did. You know, because it was always the talk. Oh, Sting should have came there. He never came there. They wanted him to wrestle the Undertaker, and that never happened.
Yep. I mean,
that never was going to happen. Maybe if Sting had came in the WWE earlier,
it would have been worse if they brought him in earlier. They would have done worse things.
Not his early years, but the I would say like the mid stages of the crow Sting, like if he had came in if he had came in with WCW, basically was bought by WWE, then but it was too late.
Yeah, and it's funny too because WWE was like running this, I don't know what it was, like some kind of promo or whatever about like a house with rain falling on it. And I think Sting said later on that was supposed to be his promo, but he re-upped with Impact, and that was later turned to the Undertaker's promo for something.
Yeah.
So it's like I think he made a better choice staying with Impact where it was safer. He can rely on the young talent not to be so reckless, whereas in WWE, it's pretty much a free for all. Unless you like the handpicked chosen wrestlers, you pretty much get fed to the wolves.
Pretty much. And Seth Rollins was he when he did that buckle power bomb, I was like, yeah, he just fucked up Sting.
Yeah, he did. I remember he did the same thing to Finn Balor too.
Yeah,
and he broke his arm. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's such a dangerous move.
No, I mean it's not dangerous. Depending on the person doing it, because I seen bigger, taller people or bigger people, wider people, whatever. They do it, and the other person don't get hurt. It's just in the WWE ring, people's bodies are not meant to be in that type of ring. Like with Impact's six-sided ring, AJ Styles and other people saying like that ring is not for people to be on because that thing is very stiff. But in WWE, it's like that work effort, that how many shows they got to do plus wrestling wears you down. That's why people who never had any injuries in their life, they step into WWE, they start having injuries. Why? Because they're always pushing them. That's why TNA was always the perfect second option because for the most part, they pre-tape their shows. So once you're done with the tapings, you can do whatever the heck you want to do. If you want to just work for Impact, that's cool. You can watch yourself on TV while you heal up. Whereas like in AEW, you don't even get that. You got guys wrestling multiple times throughout the week. And it's like your body's not made to do that constantly.
Right.
That's why New Japan, despite the fact that those guys go hard in the ring, they hardly get injured because those guys are seasonal wrestlers. The majority of them came from from New Japan Dojo. And if they didn't come from
Right.
New Japan Dojo, they came from another dojo within Japan who taught the guys the basics. You don't get there in AEW. It's free for all in AEW. That's like the perfect example. Do you want to be crappy wrestling, that is American wrestling, or you want to be a seasonal pro wrestler, which is in Japan? Most people will say Japan, but they don't want to have they don't want to go through that training. They want to be broken down and built back up. They want the instant gratification. Oh, I can just do this cheap pop right here. Oh, I can just do the Canadian Destroyer like every 5 moves, or the super kick, or do the too sweet sign.
Right.
That's why I be telling people I don't want to see New Japan, who's high quality, high class wrestling, with garbage wrestling that is AEW. All that's going to do is mess up the prestige that is the New Japan wrestlers, and mess up and tank the titles that New Japan have. Period. And it's just, I don't know, man. I just don't want to see them working together ever. That's like a nightmare for me, because I saw Cody Rhodes in New Japan, and that did not work well for me.
Yeah, his run with Impact was it was not good at all.
I forgot he was even in Impact.
It was only for like I think it was only like for a brief moment. Then
yeah, then he went to ROH.
It seemed like everybody from ROH is now a part of Impact. I mean, not Impact, AEW now.
Almost. I know the Briscoes, they was backstage, but if I'm them, I wouldn't go to AEW because they're gonna be on the road all the time compared to how Impact is, where they just tape for like a month, which is a bad move for them because they don't have to keep traveling over and over and over and over. They can do the shows there for a month, then they can do indie shows, then for like whatever weeks left, rest up.
Right.
And it'll be a bad move to have the Briscoes there because of how much Tony Khan is booking the show. He's not going to book them or anybody else from ROH to be champions or anything. Look at the Revival. When they got there, they didn't even wrestle until, 3, maybe 6 months after they signed with the company. That's because because the Young Bucks didn't want them to upstage them.
And they did it anyway.
I know, right? And Cornette, he was documenting this too. He was like, why is it the Young Bucks are always on the show first, but you never see the Revival wrestling? It's because the Revival are polished, better wrestlers compared to the Young Bucks.
Right.
For heaven's sake, it's out there. I read an article or seen the video. I think it was Mac Jackson. He's one that got trained. Nick Jackson didn't get trained. He got trained by his brother. He didn't go to no proper training school. Matt did. Then they came home, got on the trampoline, started training themselves. That's why they have no form in wrestling. That's why they're terrible in the ring. That's why they cannot sell worth a lick. Look at all the times look at all the times look at all the times they was in what was it? In New Japan when Matt Jackson's supposed to be injured. What was he doing? He was just flying around the ring like he wasn't injured. It's called selling, folks. You need to sell to make the wrestling good.
It's too hard for them to do that.
I mean, at this point, their career is almost over with anyways. Nick Jackson's my age, same birthday, so it's like, sooner he's going to fall off. They said they were supposed to be retiring when he hit 30, but that was a lie, so I guess it's going to be 40. But I guess that would be a lie, because outside of AEW, they're not really popular.
And that's what they're trying to cling to as being popular outside of AEW, and it's not gonna happen because AEW still don't have they don't have what WWE has. See, WWE is everywhere. When you have sponsors like WWE have, you're everywhere. And
Right.
that's what they are. They're everywhere. Every time you turn on, it don't matter what channel you're watching on TV, you're gonna see a WWE commercial or
Exactly.
advertisement. Something that AEW is trying to do, but they don't have the sponsors that WWE have, and they probably never will because WWE is more professional. Even though I can't really stand the company, but they're more professional and they have a structure.
Exactly. And it's just freaking crazy how WWE hardly spends money on advertisement, yet people still remember them. AEW got to spend money everywhere and it's bleeding money. Couple of them, on the fact that I think they spent like $35 million, $8 million on a video game, which I believe is not going to be really good at all.
They didn't release half of the company. WWE, they released half of the company, so their video game wouldn't be. I don't know if their video game would be worth buying AEW, like you said. You know,
Yeah,
is it really going to be? I mean, it shouldn't even take you that long to come out with a video game.
it shouldn't, but they try and make it perfect, and it's not going to be perfect because you keep hiring more people, more people, more people. That's going to call you. That's going to cost more money, more development time to add those people. Plus, if some of these people get injured or they get released, then you just wasted that money on that person.
Right.
And it's stupid because they're trying to rush this video game and they not even been in business for 5 years. You should wait after 5 years to make a video game so you know that your roster is stable. You got enough people that are under contract for a long term, and you do not just do this. Oh, let's just do this now, even though your roster is blooming or it's going to burst, and then you're going to be out of money.
Right.
Like $35 million, I guess, was that TV deal, and he got like $100 million from his dad for his, I guess, inheritance. That can only get you so far, Tony. I mean, if you want to talk money, how's those Jaguars doing for you, Tony? What about
Right.
that soccer team in England that hates you too? You notice he has two failing sports ventures, and the only one he's clinging on to the most is wrestling, because he knows in wrestling he can control everything. But in those other sports, you can't just do what you want, Tony. Those other sports got rules and guidelines that you have to abide by,
Right.
and that's why he's clinging on so much to AEW, because only in wrestling that your budget is as high as the money you have in your pocket. Whereas if you're in other sports, there's a bargain agreement. So he's like, I can just put my money in this company and I'll be rich, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you don't want to do that. You don't put your money in one company because that's how Vince got himself in trouble.
Right.
And it's like he's controlling everything. He's doing everything. It's like, Tony, sooner or later, this is going to give out on you, man. You can't be the anti Vince, but you being worse than Vince. Vince never had this tight control of contracts or booking or anything. He had people for that. Tony's trying to do everything and seem like he's smart and everything, which he's not. Oh,
And it's crazy that he calls himself Booker of the Year. He calls himself Booker of the Year, but his
he's
booking
succumbing.
is fucking garbage.
That is funny because only 3 companies was wrestling during the pandemic lockdown. So yeah, give yourself that title, even though you need to put asterisks next to that. Just freaking
I mean,
stupid.
it's just ridiculous.
Then they
I'm
had
seeing I don't know if you follow this person, but it's hashtag revenge is forever. That's his page. He said that he want these talents to return. So he has EC3. He has Jesse Goddard. I don't know if you remember Jesse Goddard, but
no,
he
I don't
was
like Jesse. He was boring.
I don't know why. I don't know why people want him back. Mike and Maria Bennett.
Yes.
Mia Yim.
No, because she did the same thing what all the other wrestlers did. When it was came time to renewing the contract with Impact, she bolted for WWE. Nah, pass.
Kenny King.
Yeah,
Of
bring him
course,
back.
the lady we were just talking about, Taya Valkyrie.
No, nah, pass. Pass. Hard pass.
I would love to see her Mia Yim back in there, but I feel like they won't go there. I feel like they're gonna try to see if they can go to AEW because that's what everybody's doing now. Everybody's going to AEW. Impact ain't trying to really, bring nobody in
I mean, me and Yin, she's always
like that
after the
anymore.
fame. Me and Yin, she was always after the fame. She wasn't caring about Impact. I mean, they could offer her a 5-year deal, or whatever. She wouldn't stay. She bolted as soon as she got that offer from WWE.
Yeah, and then if they shitted on her, really good.
Yep. Oh, what's my new gimmick when I'm on TV? You're a reckoning. What's that? Wear this mask. Okay. Yeah, and you look goofy for the next few months.
It did. Hey, we're not gonna put you on TV anymore. We're gonna say you're on SmackDown. And she was a part of the crazy thing is she was a part of the draft because I saw the shit on Twitter. She was a part of the draft, but she was never
Drafted.
She was never used. She was never used. She was a part of the draft. They drafted her to. I think she was drafted to SmackDown or Raw. I know she was drafted, but they never used her. They never made a video package for her. Nothing.
Why would they do that? They don't even like her. She never won any titles in the company.
I was like, and that's definitely true too. Because she didn't even win the NXT Women's Championship. And you know every woman most every woman that's been through the NXT, roster has at least won it one time.
Yep.
Except for the exception for a few of them that have never held the title, and they just got stuck on the main roster.
And the funny thing is, Marseille Martinez, she was like, "No, I'm not doing this retribution stuff. Bye," and she left it.
Right.
She was there for one hot minute and then left it.
I do wish she would have stayed with Impact.
Me too, but we already know it's not her. It's not her. It's Impact.
Yeah.
Once they start bringing in accountants, that's when all the fun is gone. They just playing penny pinching.
She was in AEW before she went to
Impact. Yep.
Before she went to WWE. Before she went to WWE, she was with AEW.
Yeah, she was in that.
And then she left.
It was just I think an appearance deal or something. That's why.
She was supposed to be in that. She was supposed to actually stay there, but that didn't happen. So she ended up leaving. She went to WWE and left. She went to Impact. Thought they was going to keep her, but they fucked up that and let her go.
Yep.
And now she's back. Now she's back at AEW. She's worked for 3 promotions. within the same year.
Yep, and it's not her fault. So I'm not gonna blame it. It's not her fault.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, it's the WWE. They could have really used her because I was talking about this with a friend. You know, the draft. If you're gonna make some big switches, some wrestlers that need more work should have went to NXT, and the wrestlers that we felt like that our NXT could go up to the main roster, give some edginess to it. And Mercedes Martinez and Mia Yim were definitely the two people that we said that could possibly bring some edginess to the Raw brand, especially Mercedes Martinez, because she gives off that Victoria vibe. You know,
Yeah.
like she definitely reminds me of Victoria a lot. So she could have definitely been good for Monday Night Raw. But they, and she was on Raw, but she was on a terrible gimmick though, a gimmick that
Yeah, for a hot minute, then she
basically is
left
not.
that.
Yeah, so that didn't work. I mean, at this point, it's like, why even have the drafts if it's really not going to work? It's not going to benefit the booking, and it's not going to benefit the talent. It's not going to benefit either one. So why have the draft? I mean, or a superstar shakeup. At this point, I know a lot of fans, say that they should just merge the two world titles and the
No.
women's championship and the tag team titles,
No.
and just keep Raw and SmackDown, but
Yeah.
just forget about the brand split. Just
Yeah,
get rid of the brand split.
that's what something I have, like, merge the titles together, but have the champion go on both shows. Except for the like the Intercontinental title, leave that there. The US title, leave that there. Just put the women's tag team titles, the women's title, and the top title on both shows, so everybody have a fair share of the title. But then again, people are going to complain, well, now everybody's getting a title shot then. Well, you got the middleweight title. What about the top title? Well, not everybody can hold the top title then. You got that big issue again.
Right.
Then it's like,
I think the brand split is needed. The brand split has worked before.
yeah, it has.
Just that it's just this PG era. It's the booking, and Vince does not have writers that can really contribute to can contribute to wrestling content and wrestling product. Those people that you have really never sat down and been a fan of wrestling.
Yep, they're mostly soap opera people.
Right. So it's because of Vince Russo. That's what it all started, because Vince Russo wasn't really a wrestling fan,
He was just selling, like, what was it, like DVDs or no, VHS or something at a store, and they just picked them up.
Yeah. So the reason why the Attitude Era was kind of came around, was because Vince Russo had a vision to have it like some type of Jerry Springer, type, show, which was like, I mean, I guess some of it was a success, and there was some of it wasn't,
But I will also say that some of it gotta give credit to ECW, because there's many people in this document that said that he just stole what ECW's doing and just brought it to TV.
Oh, for sure, and throwing this in there too, they also not only stole it, but they were basically doing invasion angles with ECW, because around that time, ECW was already being held by WWE at that time. But, nobody really knew at that time, because, Paul Heyman at that time, he didn't really disclose of that. But they already were getting help by WWE, and then you know we had that invasion with ECW wrestlers and WWE wrestlers, Al Snow, Tommy
Yep.
Dreamer, RVD. Tommy Dreamer, he didn't really come around to like when they did the invasion with oh
Taz.
what didn't he come around in the Attitude Era, or was
No.
that
No, he came around when Taz had a match with Jerry King Lawler and Tommy Dreamer did a run in.
Oh, he came around when they did the WCW, WWF, ECW invasion
Yeah, I
angle
think
when
so,
they
yeah.
all was okay.
Yeah, because I remember it
Yeah.
was Taz versus Jerry King. I think it was on SmackDown. Then Tommy Dreamer came out of the crowd with a sign or whatever to hit the King with, but of course, as WWE, he had him hit Taz and all the other shenanigans went on.
Because you know they love steel chairs.
They do. And even at the side
I
of a
see that
steel...
a lot of wrestling now.
Yeah, and it's like if you see someone that they use a steel chair on somebody, instant DQ. What? It's a hardcore match. Why is there a rule for me to hit somebody in the head? You can just put your hands up. That's what they do anyways. And when you watch it close enough, you can see them just put their hands up and they fall back.
They used to do that. Nowadays, they actually do take. Nowadays, they actually do take shots to the head, which is stupid because that shit hurts. I know it does. It hurts.
I mean, it depends on where you watch it. It depends on where you watch it. Except when I usually watch like WWE rewinds and stuff on YouTube, I see them put their hands up at the last minute. So it might just be.
I think AEW does that a lot.
Well, hardcore matches.
Well, when they do segments where somebody gets attacked by a steel chair, like they take those shots to the heads for real.
Yeah, and then watch what happens when these wrestlers come out of the woodwork years after they're done wrestling, saying, "Oh, I was in Tony Khan's promotion and they hit me over the head with a steel chair and I got a concussion." Watch how quick he's going to come out and try to be defensive against it. It's like, Tony, you cannot fight against the government. If they got proof that you was doing this to your wrestlers, they got knocked hit over the head, you are liable, Tony.
Somebody just retweeted some idiot, and he said, even what did he say? Let me see, because there's two of them. It's two posts that this guy just retweeted. So some people are saying that Tony, there is no lack of diversity with Tony Khan and AEW because we have wrestlers that we had a Scorpio Sky who's black as a world tag team champion. We got two Hispanics as the tag team champions now. We got Jade Cargill who's
terrible in the ring.
Who's in the final round of the championship bracket, so there's no lack of diversity is what I'm seeing some comments of what these people are saying,
But to mention Jade, that chick has no business being in the ring. Oh, I'm that chick or whatever. Sorry, honey, but you're a black chick with muscles with short white hair that's not attractive to anybody unless somebody got a fetish for that stuff. Your wrestling stinks. Your promo stinks.
A person who's attracted to it.
Well, they got issues.
I know a person. Do you follow wrestler? What's his name? Wrestling Revolution X.
No.
Have you ever heard of that account, Wrestling Revolution X?
Not until now.
That's remember I posted a couple months, what probably was a couple months ago, a month or two ago. Remember I posted that I'm happy to be done with somebody I don't have to worry about acting like a little spoiled child because they wanted me to take sides with them against somebody else that I don't even know. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, I did his podcast for a little bit, and you know, he's the person that apparently he has all the Impact Wrestling scoops. So he said he talks to Chris from Impact Wrestling. He talks to Chris, and he has some inside scoop on Impact Wrestling and who they were going to bring in and all that stuff. And he was telling people on Twitter, trust him. His word is his word. I was like, dude, you don't know who Impact is bringing in. You just like the rest of us, just hoping they bring in some of the right people.
Yeah, the only right person, anybody who likes Impact should be following is BQ at the Impact Lounge. He's the go-to person to talk about Impact, whether it's on Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube. All these other people all the other people that said they got sources in Impact, they're lying to you. If they got sources, ask them to do 3 podcasts with 3 different Impact wrestlers that own the roster and see how quickly you can see through their lies.
Right.
Like, it's just freaking stupid. I hate when people do that. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's funny for me because I go on Twitter and YouTube to mock AEW mostly and WWE sometimes, but I go on Instagram and I see nothing but, I'm gonna come out and say, nerds making these accounts with women as their profile, and then they upload like suggestive photos or videos of the female wrestlers in certain positions. I'm like, you have to be desperate to do this kind of stuff to get attention. It's not cute, dude, especially if that person's married. All you doing is looking sleazy.
Right.
The one dude's like, well, I got a girlfriend. It's like, dude, if you got a girlfriend, she would tell you not to do this on this social media.
Right.
But then again, you got too much common sense. There's people that's going to defend AEW to the moon, and hopefully that fails. And WWE's in the midst of, I'm not sure what WWE's doing. They saying somebody's trying to buy him out, but if I'm Triple H, if I'm a smart man if he's smart like he think he is, he'll start his own promotion in secret, pull away from the company, and then sign the majority of the wrestlers that WWE released and make his own company.
Yeah.
That's the only way he's going to get a wrestling company as his own. He's not going to get it from Vince because Vince is going to give it to Nick Khan. Should he retire or die?
He could, because me and my friend was making a joke about this too. He could be, he could start up a wrestling company with Jeff Jarrett.
No, keep Jeff Jarrett away.
He could start up a company with.
I mean, he got enough contacts to get the right people involved. He's not going to get Jarrett or Russo to do it. My best guess, he should get Cornette.
No, not Russo.
Yeah,
he would never get Russo. He don't even. They got so much bad blood. It's crazy. I think the only thing I can really agree on with Vince Russo is the way WWE, Triple H, Vince McMahon, and Stephanie, how they treated Chyna.
Yep.
When she was with WWE.
And the thing is, Russo was Chyna's biggest supporter in the company. What was his name? Cornette even said Russo was Chyna's biggest supporter. He would put the title on her, give her the big push because he saw her as one of the best women in the company. And that's why she left, because she was like, I'm getting pushed like this. I'm going to get paid like Steve Austin, which was her fault. But Russo was the only one that was in her corner. If he wasn't in her corner, she wouldn't have got where she got to.
Right. I never forget when she came to she came to Impact.
Me either. I was like, I hope
We'll
she
never forget
stays.
that.
Yeah, I was hoping she was going to stay.
I think she had too many problems
I think
for.
I think by that time, from what I read, she was a English teacher in Japan, so she was only there for a limited amount of time before she had to head back to Japan.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah,
like, she's like,
yeah,
it's funny because she's my number one favorite women wrestler of all time.
Yeah, I loved her work, and you know, especially around that time because the women's division was really just being picked back up or getting really started in WWE, but it wasn't at the point. It wasn't at the point it needed to be. Not like it was when the ruthless aggression era came, and still then the ruthless aggression era was not where it needed to be for women too until now. I mean, but even before, you know, the ruthless aggression era, I mean, really decided to give women more. Impact Wrestling was already doing that.
I
They
can
were,
tell you this point blank. I knew WWE was watching Impact when they pulled that trick what they did with what was it, Michelle McCool and Layla splitting the women's title. I'm like, you got that from Impact
yeah,
because Impact had the women's knockouts title, and you trying to give those two something to play with. I knew that somebody was watching Impact
right,
after that.
right.
It's like
And
you couldn't invest money to getting those belts around the you couldn't tag team titles for the women around that time because y'all division was just terrible at the time.
right,
I mean,
right,
it was at the point where it was like 2015 TNA tag team division where the only team who was there was the Wolves.
right.
Man, that
Right,
was
yeah, man.
that was terrible. Like the Wolves were the only champions. Like, where's your other tag teams? Well, we don't have any other tag teams. I was like, seriously? I was like, at that point, I was like, y'all really need to get that deal done with ROH. Make a partnership or something. Throw the black blood away. Be a partnership. Help each other out. But it didn't work.
Right, yeah. And like I said, hopefully Impact, this will be Impact's year. I mean, 2020 they had a decent year. There was some stuff that could have been better, but they had a decent year. I feel like they could sit back now and evaluate 2021, and they could really listen to the fans and listen to everybody else that have criticized them. And Impact has got some good criticism, ain't bad. But I think the good criticism comes from us, and it comes from BQ. You know, it comes for the real Impact supporters that really want to see the company take off and grow as much as they can. And like I said, 2022 seems like it's going to be a good start for them because now they're going to not super big venues, but they're going to venues that are a little bit bigger than the venues that we've seen them in currently.
I'm gonna keep harping on it, but they need to get to a venue that's as big as the Impact Zone that was in Orlando, Florida.
Oh yeah,
Get to a
yeah, and
venue that big.
that was like that held what, maybe 7,000 people.
Yeah, it had to be, but they gave people enough room around the ring to do their thing. What do they have now? Right now, they look like they just playing wrestling, like they playing high school wrestling. It's like that.
Right.
You see how close the ramp is to the rings? Like seriously, that is a risk right there.
Right, and you know that's what I've been saying all along. You know, they really need to they need to be at bigger venues, but I think before they can even do that, they really need to they're still at the stage of trying to rebuild getting a bigger fan base. But I think they can do it because they set out all their pay-per-views and events all the time. So it's kind of hard to believe that they're not able to go to those big venues because they sell out. They just sold out for Hard to Kill.
And the thing is, like we've been saying, it's either Ed or Scott Demore who are just booking the same small venues because they're trying to pinch on money and booking these poor looking production episodes, and people are getting irritated because when you see WWE spending the money, their production look good. AEW spending money, their production good. Impact is the only one of the three that looks poor. And even when RH was still running, they looked better than Impact. Because they still had the long ramp, enough space for people to move around, whereas Impact's like, no, what, we're just going to hoard the money. We're not going to invest any more money into this company.
Right.
And the weird and funny thing is, Impact is always losing something to AEW. The production team that they had with Billy Corgan, that production team left last year or the year before to go to AEW. So that production is somewhat better, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't understand why they gotta every time they show the ring or they show a match, why do we have to see the ramp? Why do we have to see the stage? Why can't it be pointed towards all the fans or most of the fans? You know, because there was a lot of people in the Sam Towns venue. There was a lot of people in there when they turned on them lights. Because we complained about them. We complained about the lighting and everything. And I think they finally listened to some of it. They still haven't listened to the camera angles. But at least they listened to the lights need to be, queued up a little bit because it should be that dark in there. I mean, we should be able to see all the wrestling fans in there, and it was a lot. Because people that were there were taking pictures and posting them on their Twitter page, and it was a lot of people in the Sam Towns venue.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too, and it's like, at the same time, AEW's filling out mostly what everyone call it. Impact is filling out, but WWE is still having trouble with their venues and stuff like that. It's like, this is a perfect time to capitalize on this Impact. Bring in more wrestlers, increase the budget a little bit, and get in more teams. You got people wanting more good wrestling.
More tag teams.
Yeah.
We definitely need more tag teams because at this point, it's kind of like the Good Brothers were a great addition to Impact, but it's time to not set them aside, but they don't need the titles. I mean, they just
let them go.
Really
just release them at this point. Release them. Recoup all the money you got from them and sign somebody else. Hey, go get Davey Richards back. Oh, do a partnership with MLW with their tag teams. Do something to tell us you're fixing the company. You see WWE is signing, 5, 10, 15 people in a given year. You see AEW sign somebody nearly every 3 weeks. Whereas Impact's like, well, we're signing these 2 people for the year. Really? you got Fight TV up in Canada that's bringing you money. You got Access TV in Texas, the United States is bringing you money, plus those deals overseas. And you guys are filming monthly. You have money to get more people. Y'all just being stingy, and people are going to get tired of that.
Right.
And it's just getting annoying because people, for the most part, are giving Impact fans credit for being patient and loyal, but that can only get you so far. Impact is trying to bank on what BQ said, the nostalgia of Impact and all the past stuff's like, no, man, I'm getting tired of seeing that nostalgia stuff. I can fire that up on YouTube. I want to see good content now. Don't be WWE who
Right.
always bringing out those legends. I want to see good content now, because the more you show me the old content, the more the new content sucks.
For me, when they do nostalgia, they don't even do the good nostalgia. Because for me, good nostalgia is having a former talent that contribute to the company very well come back, like Christopher Daniels. He was only there for one hot minute. Now, he's not there. That's good nostalgia. Hell, if AJ Styles wasn't so stubborn and would come back to Impact, that would be great nostalgia. But they've given us this bullshit nostalgia that's not good. They've given us bad nostalgia.
And the thing is, I don't think AJ's coming back. He said this contract that he signed with WWE is his last one. So after that, he's done with wrestling. Period.
And his contract expires I think, the middle of this year.
So he's pretty much gonna be done with wrestling very soon. And it's
Gallows said Anderson is trying to convince him to come back. They say they talk to him every day.
no, I'd rather he just stays in WWE, don't go to AEW, because they're not gonna do nothing good with him. Like, period. If you look at the roster, most of the guys that are there because of the click. Other than that, you're not gonna get far. So if I'm him, stay away from them. Period. Nothing good will happen.
The good brothers are trying to get him to come back to Impact.
Man, the Good Brothers, they can go to AEW for all I care. They're not doing anything on Impact but taking up money and taking up time. And it's like, you have this money, Impact. Please make the stuff better. But you're not gonna do that for your fans, because all you care about is the money and nothing else.
They're talking about they're taking baby steps. How do a 20-plus-year-old company take baby steps? They've been around for 20 years now.
Exactly.
There is no more baby steps.
That baby step stuff is dumb. I mean, y'all need to start getting on the road and signing more people. The longer you wait, the more people are gonna get frustrated and irritated. If you get frustrated and irritated to the point where you stop watching you, that's your fault, Impact. Like, for real.
Right.
And it's like, you can give them a list of things, and it's like nobody's gonna listen to it. Then it's like, oh well, then I'm gonna watch this wrestler somewhere else. Then they'll be like, oh, but we was gonna sign these people, but the deal just didn't fall through. No, Impact. Y'all not just trying to sign people at all. Y'all just being stingy.
Right.
And I don't know, man. It's just freaking pathetic how Impact think us, the fans, are stupid when we see right through their shenanigans. Then we get blasted when we defend Impact for the most part. And like, at this point, I'll just stop watching American TV. So anytime I hear about Impact, it's usually through YouTube, through BQ, or any of that stuff. Well, I'm just watching Mexico and Japan. At least they're doing something for the fans.
Right.
Just
NWA, I don't know what their deal is.
they're hit or miss for the most part. They're doing good stuff, but at the same time, they're not on the ball enough to actually get a new TV deal or something like that. Do something. They need to get a solid TV deal. You can only do YouTube videos so much. You got to get a good quality TV deal with somebody that will broadcast a show somewhere.
I know they don't fight TV, but nobody really does. Any wrestling fans really watch fight TV?
Yeah, I don't even watch Spike TV. I watch Spike TV, but I didn't watch none of it on Access or any of that stuff because it was stupid. It was pointless. And it was like, come on, man, y'all need to do something. I'm getting tired of Access getting you guys like less than what 800,000 views or something like that. It's like, come on, y'all can do better than this.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you guys doing this? It's not hard. Get the talent. You have talent that are in management in place to make sure everything runs smoothly, and there you go. But Impact is making it difficult, and this is only going to end well bad for them because people like us who've been watching longer than us going to keep coming back and saying, well, if this was Dixie's company, this stuff wouldn't be happening. You'd be seeing plenty of wrestlers on in the company.
Right. Well, maybe they need to hire her as a person that oversees. Maybe she needs to be in overseeing talent relations.
From what I
I don't
know
know.
is
Maybe
she is minority owner in the Impact, but she's just not in control of the company anymore. So she's there. She's
yeah,
just not in control of the company because she only got like a minute ownership of the company or something like that. Like I think 1% or something. So yeah, her
5%.
control is not there.
She got. I know she got like 5% of impact, and Anthem has 95%.
Yeah, but she's not putting the other percent into focus.
Yeah, that 5% is like a box of pizza.
It
They
is.
basically get it's like getting a box of pizza. And
And it's like, what are you doing, Impact? Come on, man. Y'all need to step it up. Listen to your fans. Because sooner or later, it's going to be just like what WWE was trying to do with NXT. It's going to get to the point where you cannot sit back and say, oh, we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as you sign a person, oh, I already got a deal with AEW or WWE. So it's like, you can't say, oh, we put an effort to get them when the fans don't feel that or even see that.
right,
And it's like,
yeah,
why? It's like, I don't know, man. It's like Impact really wants to say that they love their fans, but as you can see, they really don't love their fans or trying to get bad with the company. It's like they're using it as like a hedge fund or something.
they're just being lazy. That's what that is. They being lazy.
Too lazy, and it's like you can't keep relying on people to be there for you because once your little fun time is over with, nobody's gonna be around to watch you anymore. And then at that point, people are gonna start saying, "Hey, you just need to die." Like real Impact. You just need to die so people can move on and find other companies to watch because you're not satisfying anybody Impact. All you're doing is just doing cookie cutter stuff and people are getting tired of your shenanigans.
Right, right.
And just
I'm gonna let you go. I didn't want to keep on you too long.
nah man, you good, you good. Don't worry about it. I got nothing else to do today anyways.
And I'm gonna try to figure out how can we record next time.
Yeah. I mean the only thing you
And I
need
will.
if you're using Discord, you can easily use like OBS and set up there to record everything and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
I think instead maybe we could just use Skype.
yeah,
Cause Skype you could record on there. So
yeah. I mean, you
next
can
time
record.
we'll use.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. So
Cause
I'll be. Oh, go ahead.
go. I'm just gonna say I'm already recording us right now, so I can put on the flash drive and just send it to you somehow. Cause you can't send this online because of how big it is and stuff like that. So yeah, I can send a copy of the podcast to you, then you can upload on your thing and have something to air to everybody and stuff like that. So it wasn't like
Okay.
meaningless and talk or anything like that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, no, I didn't feel like it was meaningless. I mean,
Yeah,
I was saying, at least we got to know each other and stuff for future podcasting and stuff.
yeah. I mean, I'm pretty much open to it. Like, I'm like most of my stuff I follow is mostly like wrestling stuff, like on Instagram and Twitter. So I'm mostly around wrestling stuff, information all day, every day. It's just most of the stuff
Yeah.
I'm just sticking to lucha because the American stuff is just not sticking for me. Because I mean, they go balls and walls down in Mexico, man, and it's a lot better than what it is in the United States.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, you can try to figure out this whole system, but either way, it's fine with me. I'm pretty much like a tech nerd and stuff like that. So here or Skype is fine with me. You can still record with OBS on both of them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I can just seem like some instructions and tips to do it. It's not really that hard to do, anyways. It's just downloading OBS, making the background for like a podcast background, and install like the mic thing, and you pretty much set. Because when I record, I don't use a headphone because it's irritating. I just record straight shooting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got like 2 hours and 20 minutes out of this thing, so I think that'd be a good podcast to send to you as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, I
No
appreciate
problem,
it.
man. I did this before, Jess. I gotta get a flash drive to send it to you because this thing ain't go through the internet. That thing's crazy for sure.
Yeah.
Make your edits and stuff. It's just, yeah, I'm pretty much open anytime to do a podcast. Mainly when I hear some stories about WWE or AEW. I'm just too lazy to fire up myself sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like
Same
hard to
here.
find people to record podcasts with because everybody's doing something or they're just being lazy. Like I'm trying to hit up Eva Lee's for a podcast, but she's taking a break from wrestling or something. I don't know, but I try another time though.
Yeah. I try to see if Mickey James would do an interview, but I haven't heard nothing back, so I'm on to the next wrestler at this point to see, if I can get them to, whoever to be on the to interview for the wrestling podcast. So I'm still working on it.
Yeah, man, it's all about the hustle and the grind. You will find somebody. I go for most like the underground in promising star that's coming up. Like there's one I've been following, Danny Moore. She's been on what was it, on AEW a few times, but she's a nice person. You can probably hit up for a podcast interview because I've been following her a long time and she's pretty much a genuine nice person. Just trying to get those big names, that's the issue right there, because they want to be with those big name podcasts. Except for Moose. Moose don't want to do nothing with black people.
That's a shame.
I know BQ even broke it out. He said, I think this year, last year, Moose does not want to do any podcast with a black podcaster.
Why does he feel like it's gonna be late?
I think he has that C syndrome that Mark Henry and Booker T and all those other people have. Where once they start upping it up with the rich folks, they don't want to do nothing with black people, but they still want black people to support them during their reign. And that's why so many people came at me, and so many people who were impact channels, they stop following me because I've been going critical at Moose. Why would I support you when you don't want to do nothing with black people? Why would I want to support you when your wrestling career is pretty much less than a pound of shit? You are terrible in the ring, Moose. What is with him with these spears and he's rolling into them? That doesn't even look good.
Basically stole Bobby Lashley's spear.
But Bobby looks better. And he doesn't even roll through them. He just spears you. Moose has no business doing moves like that. Then he's trying to do high flying stuff. No, you are a big man. Do big man stuff. Stop trying to be like a cruiserweight, okay? You definitely don't look good doing it.
Right.
And he's trying to show off and everything. It's like, Moose, the only other company you work for was ROH. And the only reason why you got to Impact was because of Mike Bennett. And Mike is gone. So whatever little special order you have, it's ran its course. So you can say about people, people on the internet are mad at me because I did this. No. Some of us are just put off by your whole gimmick. You ever know about how you don't like black people, how basic your moves are, and people have to carry you in matches. I mean, look at Austin Aries. He had to carry Moose in that match.
Sure did.
Just, oh
Then
man.
you stuck up for Tessa Blanchard. I think that's what really pissed off a lot of people.
Man, Moose needs to stay in his lane. Tessa, she's the last person she opened her mouth. And I was actually glad when she opened her mouth when she did win that title. All those women came out and started going after her. I'm like, oh yeah, this is her reckoning. You do all this stuff to people. Look what happened to you.
Yeah.
And that's why Wow lost that TV deal. Wow was like, hey, Tessa's being a bully, Tessa's doing all this stuff, and Anthem didn't want to hear it, so they canceled that deal.
Right.
And then, yeah. So it's like, I want to be on the side of Impact, but at the same time, they don't look good in this situation either, because you let her go and you let other key people go. Who's that good person you brought in? The Good Brothers? They're terrible.
Right.
And it's very telling because the last person that was brought into Impact under the TNA banner was Michael Bennett and Maria when Billy was there.
Right.
Once he left, yeah, it's very telling. It's like they don't know what they're doing in that company. They're not Vince. You only have, 3 creative people? It should not be that hard to hire new talent and fill up that roster, but they're not doing it.
Right.
And if they can sign that, what was that Russian girl, Mesha or Misha or whatever her name is? Yeah.
Masha, yeah.
They can sign her, but they can't sign Mercedes Martinez. I'm sorry, but that Russian chick, she does not look good in that ring with her hair look up like that. It's like, what the heck is that?
I didn't even know who she was until they said she wrestled on AEW Dark or Elevation or whatever, and I don't even watch that.
I don't either. That's how I figure out about who she is too. But it's like, what the heck is on her head? For me, it's all about presentation. If your appearance looks sloppy in the ring, or you have a certain way, it's like, what is going on here? It looks messed up. Like her hair, I can't get behind her with her hair up like that. It's all flopping all over the place. Her hair's not even that long. Let it flow down. You at least have her hair down. Plenty of women have their hairs down. If it's like past the shoulder, then yeah, put in a ponytail. But her hair's not even that long. It's like, sweetie, no, I'm put off. That's why I like the inspiration. They got long hair, but they work around that issue.
Right.
And it's funny too because, what was it? Havoc, I know on good terms anymore because I used to talk to her a lot on Instagram and stuff about wrestling or whatever. She got mad at me the first time when I was criticizing when Impact had Tessa and Taya took a picture of the Knockouts division. It was like only a handful of women. It was like, they can do more. So I list a whole bunch of female wrestlers, and then here come Havoc defensive. Well, some of these slaves are not ready for TV. Some of these slaves are not good. Then I came back a year later. It's like,
it's the same thing they said about her.
Yeah. then I came back and I said the same. I said Havoc. Some of these ladies I just list, they been on TV. Sasha Martinez, she was with ROH on TV. Lena Austin, she was on NXT UK on TV. So your little excuse of some of these are inexperienced or they're not on TV, they're invalid, period. And I don't care if they're young or not. get them in the company, groom them to be in the company to work a certain style, and let them be themselves.
Right.
Stop trying to get all these older women in there who want to demand, okay, I got kids now, so I can't work this amount of days. I can't do this. Get the young talent in there. Bring new blood. You can't keep hiring Brandy Lauren every time. That's not gonna work. Amber Noble, she been gone. You can't rely on her anymore. What was it? Casey Spoley, one of the dead bridesmaids. She's gone. You can't bring her back anymore. You keep retreading the same women, and some of them don't even wrestle.
Right.
Like, what was it? Alicia Edwards. She doesn't wrestle. Then there was a time where Rosemary wasn't wrestling. Then there was a time where Tessa and Taya wasn't wrestling. So pretty much that was like 3 or 4 women in the knockouts competing for the title. And that was also when Masserine wasn't wrestling. So that was a shallow pool of talent to play Ring Around the Rosie with her title. Wait a minute. Didn't they have a deal with OVW? I could have sworn they had they had a deal.
They had a development deal. Like they would have, like, I guess, people get experience through OVW, and then they Impact will bring them up to sign them to a contract and put them on TV.
Yeah, I think that deal is done because I haven't seen nobody from OVW on TV. I mean, OVW is running TV like, I don't know how many times a week, but I see plenty more of independent wrestlers who are signed to OVW promoting OVW on TV, but I don't see nothing about Impact hiring anybody from OVW to put on their TV.
Right.
Man, I can go on and on about that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let you get on with your nightmare and do what you got to do, because that's a thing for another day, because I can go on forever about Impact and wrestling in general.
Yeah, same. All right, man. Nice talking to you. I'll be chatting with you on Twitter later on.
I'll talk to you later on Twitter, man. Probably throughout the week, unless there's some more crazy news popping up, then I'm going to have to say something.
Yep.
I see you later,
man. Talk
man.
later.
Peace.
All right. Peace.